Hello, Alexia. This is Destiny's Bane. I'm also known as Dave. That's my real name. Uh, but I just wanted to post a quick response to your video of Ron Paul versus Herman Cain. So I hope that you'll like my response and you'll just or accept my response and just hear a few thoughts that I had to share with you. Uh, I just want to start by saying I certainly don't begrudge you for switching your support to Herman Cain. Um, I believe that he's a good, well-intentioned person, and we certainly don't hate you for switching your positions there. But in all seriousness, I do have some concerns, and I just wanted to share them with you personally. Um, I'll start the video by saying some things I do like about Herman Cain. I think that he's a good person, and I think that he has very good traditional family values, and I definitely support that about him. Um, and I'm captivated by the story that he has to tell. I mean, he overcame so much. He lived in stark poverty. He lived at a time when African Americans like himself weren't really accepted, and yet he started from the bottom, working his way up. I mean, he was sleeping floors before he was managing corporations, and I think that certainly says a lot about him. He's not a Washington, D.C. political insider. And I think he's a very inspirational figure, one that I can respect. And he does have a excellent business experience. He's proven that, as he said in his own words, that he has solved problems for a living. He's turned around companies that would have otherwise failed. And so, if he can do that for our economy, I would agree with you. But now to some of the things I don't like about him, and I know you probably know a lot of this already. First of all, he supported the Patriot Act, which restricts many of our civil liberties, many of our privacy rights. Um, it just it gives some very frightening powers to the feds that I just don't feel comfortable with. And he still supports the Patriot Act. If you pinned him down and asked him, he has actually been on record for saying that he would be willing to compromise civil liberties in order for our nation to be safer. Benjamin Franklin would disagree with him on that. He also, I don't like his stance on religious freedom. He has actually been known to repress the Islamic point of view. Now, I'm a Christian myself, but I don't think I have a right to tell people they can't build mosques in a small community outside of Memphis, Tennessee. He was actually involved in that. Uh, I don't like his foreign policy. But, I could go on and say many of the things that I disagree with about him. But I wanted to address your concerns about the economy, and I think they're very good ones. You want somebody who has the experience and the proven track record that can turn around an economy like ours. And that's important. But once again, that's why I still stubbornly support Ron Paul. Because, I mean, let's compare the economic plans. We have Herman Cain's 999 plan. Okay, this plan would eliminate capital gains tax, which is a huge source of revenue. There was actually an article published recently that stated that under this tax plan, billionaires like Warren Buffett, who receive most of their income from capital gains, would be paying virtually no taxes. So it just seems like that's a loss of a lot of revenue from very wealthy people. And what does that say about the middle class? Who's going to be paying for this debt, ultimately? Now, I don't support raising taxes on rich people and corporations and all that. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that's a concern of mine. The other thing the 999 plan does, and a lot of people don't realize this, it institutes a 9% sales tax on a federal level. Which means if you live in a state, and by the way, this is in addition to state sales tax. A lot of people don't realize that. It's not replacing the current sales tax in states. This is in addition to it. So by those calculations, okay, I live in Pennsylvania. I believe our current sales tax rate is about 6%. I'm not sure if that's changed in recent years or not, but that's besides the point. The point is, with a 6% sales tax in the state of Pennsylvania, we would be paying a 15% sales tax on just about everything we buy. So, and Herman Cain has said this on record, by the way. And when he was asked about it in the debates, all he could say was apples and oranges. Uh, you know, I think we need more information than apples and oranges about why we're paying significantly more sales tax than we are. And this would affect the middle class and lower class Americans significantly more than the wealthy class. And I don't think that's good for the economy. It also discourages consumerism. People, consumption is a huge part of our economy. It's a huge part of a free market economy. So if you're raising sales taxes that high, I believe that would do a lot more harm than good. Would it generate revenue? Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, and in addition to that, under the 999 plan, this federal sales tax is also applied to critical items like food and clothing. So, okay, in my state, Pennsylvania, we don't pay taxes on food. We buy a gallon of milk or a loaf of bread. There's no tax on that. Under Herman Cain's plan, there's a 9% sales tax on all food, all groceries that you buy. So we'd still pay that here in Pennsylvania under Herman Cain's plan. Ron Paul, on the other hand, has a plan to turn around this economy. Ron Paul is going to be cutting $1 trillion if his budget would be approved, $1 trillion in the first year. And he wouldn't even have to cut Social Security or any medical plans. He's cutting wasteful programs like the Department of Education. I don't have all the other departments on hand, but he wouldn't even have to touch Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security, and he'd be cutting $1 trillion out. And in addition to those cuts, he's also eliminating the personal income tax, which I think is a heck of a lot more beneficial than paying a 9% personal income tax. And paying a 9% sales tax on everything, which Ron Paul's not even going to touch. So, these are just some things I want you to think about. I believe that Ron Paul's plan is a lot better for America. Herman Cain is probably on the right track and certainly has the right intentions, but I just don't think that his plan is the best plan. I think that's Ron Paul, because that tax rate goes to all of us. The cuts that he's making and the tax cuts that he's making, that all goes back to us, and that all goes towards paying off this out of control, exploding national debt. So I just like you to consider those things. And you did ask if there was anything we'd like to see you post in future videos. I do have a question for you, and if you already have this in a video, let me know. But can you tell me some specifics of what Herman Cain is willing to cut? Because frankly, I haven't heard him talk about that. Ron Paul has actually gone into details about which departments he wants to cut and which ones wouldn't necessarily have to suffer right now. And Herman Cain just hasn't gone into specifics, so I'd really like to hear what you have to say about that if you've heard something I haven't. And my time's about to run out here. I didn't even mean to go this long, but I think I had a lot of points to make. And I thank you for listening and look forward to your response. Or if you don't want to make a response, that's fine too. But I just want you to at least think about some of the things I've said and look into some of the things that Ron Paul has said compared to Herman Cain. I think they're both pretty good choices for president, but I think Ron Paul's our man. Thank you very much for listening again, and God bless.